Shout out to everybody. We back. So it looks like Joe Biden is announcing that he is going to be giving $770 in aid for the people who are victims of the California wildfire. So let's listen to some of this.
And I want to be clear. We're not waiting until those fires are over to start helping the victims. We're getting them help right now, as you all know. People impacted by these fires are going to receive one-time payment of $770, one-time payment, so they can quickly purchase things like water, baby formula.
A payment of $770. Didn't he make an announcement not too long ago, said he was going to cover 100% of the damages for 180 days? I thought he literally just like said something like that not too long ago. But now $770. Let's listen to the rest of this and see what he's saying.
Prescriptions. So far, nearly 6,000 survivors have registered to do just that, and $5.1 million has gone out. And I encourage everyone who has been impacted to get assistance.
That's not a whole lot of money, to be real with you. $770. Yeah, 6,000 people reach out, so a total about $5.1 million. That's not a whole lot of money, man. I don't know. Let's go to Fox News. See what they saying before we get into this debate. Yo, there you go. We're not gonna get too crazy today, y'all. See what they saying before we get into this debate. I think Sean Hannity just like see what Waters. Jesse Waters is saying. What did he say? He said Democrats underestimated. Heck. Yeah, somebody says $770 can buy a whole lot of nuggets from Burger King. Yo, that's super laughable. I mean, it's something, right? It's something at the end of the day. It's not a lot, but it's something. So I don't know, man.
That DEI and wokeness have.
So what do y'all think about this? All right, so the mayor and the governor is kind of under fire, right? A lot of people kind of been talking about the mayor who cut the budget for the fire department and like cut the budget for the people that supposedly was going to be clearing out the brush. Insurance companies got wind of this, State Farm, and they ended up canceling insurance for that area, which I think is a smart thing to do. Obviously, you know, if you own a house, it's not something you want somebody to say, right? But they still were able to get insurance. It was like kind of the bottom of the barrel insurance. Wasn't as good as State Farm, but they still were able to be insured, you know? So, but I don't know, man. What do y'all think? The mayor, I think she was in Ghana at the time, and then she came back. A lot of people were trying to interview her and talk to her. She was trying to ignore people. So I don't know, man. Gavin Newsom, you know, he's kind of a controversial figure. I say, what's up, Deontay Kennedy, a member on the channel? He said, Thug Life. Shout out to you. Let's listen to this debate that's going on. They got Amala up here. Let's listen. And Mark Lamont.
Department. At the end of the day, the most important thing, as is the case whenever you have any kind of intervention like this, is that qualified people are there and that everyone has a fair shake at a high quality job, that no one is underqualified or unqualified for the job. In terms of the fire, which is
somebody said fire department in California is making $180 an hour. Oh, let's see. California. Oh, they make about $104,000 a year, but that's still like they in California. Like to like us or something like that.
First question, I
that's
don't.
a whole lot of money, but living in California, that's not like that much money.
Think that DEI has anything to do with these fires. I think there's plenty of blame.
So people are saying that DEI is an issue, right? So they feel like because this inclusive program, you got people that are unqualified to be in position. For one, the mayor, unqualified to be in position. the lady that's in charge of the fire department, unqualified to be in position. And they said the only reason why these people are in position is because of DEI. What do y'all think about that?
To go around, and a lot of it has to do with Democrats, Democratic mayor, Democratic governor, Democratic councils. I mean, there's a lot of criticism to go around. There's a lot of targets here, but DEI to me isn't the issue here. I'm more concerned with how the police were overfunded and fire departments were underfunded. I'm interested in climate change and having that conversation. We have to have a conversation about the kind of homes we have and the kind of homes we build these days. There are lots of things to talk about,
bro. Like, I make over $100,000 a year, right? And so, like, I was thinking about moving to California at one point. This is like years ago. But like, I still wouldn't even be able to afford to live out there. Like, I would be in the hood, like Watts or something like that. I wouldn't be able to live out there. Like, that's how expensive it is, bro.
But I don't think DEI is the blame here.
Okay, Gillian, you lost a home in a previous fire in LA.
Harvey said Newsome useless, mayor useless. Tommy Brown said DEI sucks. Party Sipe said they spent over $500,000 doing DEI training and then took $200,000 away from each of the different fire departments throughout California, accounting to over $100 million. Oh, yeah, that is crazy, Patty. That is crazy. Like, the DEI training. Didn't like Walmart said they're going to do away with DEI training?
In 2018, you've had to evacuate your own mother in these fires. I've got to say, my place is in Beverly Hills, which thankfully has not been hit yet, although the next 48 hours will be pretty crucial, I think, as to what happens, because the Santa Ana winds are going to come back with a vengeance, we're told.
Real quick, not to keep pausing Piers Morgan. Yeah, Walmart rolls back DEI program after right-wing backlash. It says Walmart, the largest private employer in the United States, will curb some diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. It's the latest company to backtrack on diversity initiatives in the face of right-wing pressure, and its decision will reverberate across corporate America. The company said Monday it is ending racial equality training programs for staff and evaluating programs designed to increase supplier diversity. Walmart has worked to increase the number of suppliers that are at least 51% owned or managed by a woman, minority, veteran, or someone who is LGBTQ in recent years. The company is also reviewing all funding of Pride and other events and monitoring its online marketplace to remove, I don't want to say that on YouTube, or that word, products marketing to children. Walmart also said it would not extend its Center for Racial Equity, a 5-year, $100 million philanthropic commitment the company made in 2020 to address the root causes of gaps in outcomes of African Americans in education, health, criminal justice, and other areas. I mean, that's a lot of money to be spending on programs, bro. It's like, it's crazy. It's like 2025. If you don't know not to be like that, like a person that is like that, that is insane, man. It goes to show you like how some of these family households are. But I mean, I don't necessarily think companies should be super required to have anything like that. That's like more money. So I don't know, man. But if Patty Sipes is right, said they spent over $500,000 doing DEI training and then took $200,000 away from each of the different departments throughout California, accounting to over $100 million. That's a problem.
And if they head northeast, as they did a couple of days ago, and they jump the 405 freeway, then everyone in Los Angeles knows what that means for Bel Air, Beverly Hills, and potentially everywhere else in the city. So these are pretty scary times for everyone.
If y'all can, double tap the screen and hit the like button so we can get some people in here. Appreciate you.
You as a property there. What do you feel? I mean, as someone who's watched this play out before and suffered a horrible loss yourself, what do you feel about the blame game, the accountability part?
Well, I think that leadership in California is absolutely accountable for this. They are the ones who are in charge of mitigating these kinds of disasters. And I want to play complete devil's advocate here. Let's go with, we do know that California is prone to wildfires. Santa Ana winds.
And Patty, where are you from? And then Studadon1 said, hey, Papa Boy, why didn't you recap Why are you talking to me about battle rap? I'm not talking about battle rap. I already did.
We all know this. And I'm not a climate change expert here, but if we play that card, and I'm more than happy to do it, you should have been that much more prepared. And we know for a fact that if we were doing prescribed controlled burns, forestry cleanup, creating fire breaks, if we had the reservoir filled that was uphill from the Palisades, the one closest to the Palisades, we probably could have put that fire out more effectively by getting it done.
It's the kid 916 said Piers Morgan has been putting in that work. I'm really impressed with him. Yeah, he's been doing a really good job, man. Like, you know, sometimes he'll pick a topic and be on the wrong side of things, in my opinion. But, you know, for the most part, I think he's very inclusive, right? So with people who have different opinions. And I think that's fire, man. I like that.
Sooner rather than days later, if you manage the state's water more efficiently, and there are so many issues with that, considering how many billions of gallons go to growing shelled nuts. It's like 80% of the state's water, which is 2% of the state's GDP. If you reprioritized where you're putting the state's budget instead of giving homeless people drug kits and maybe invested in desalination plants. I mean, there are so many things that we can talk about in this episode that are grossly negligent and would have had a...
Yeah, I want to hear what Mark Lamont got to say about that. The way he's shaking his head. Like, I'm going to be real, like Mark Lamont, he don't be winning his debates against Candace Owens. You know, sometimes Piers Morgan gets him in a corner, but sometimes he makes valid points. So I'm curious to hear his take on this.
Massive impact on saving lives and saving people's homes.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling, Michael, I'll bring you in here.
And I can see on this end if y'all are doing it too, so y'all can't hit that.
Is having had a home in LA for 15 years and lived and worked there for 20 years, this issue of the fires has been ever present. I mean, the big fear has always been another big earthquake. But everyone's been very aware that there's been a lot of fires and they seem to have been getting more prevalent, not less prevalent. And everyone's been like, well, what's being done to protect everybody? And there was perhaps a false complacency that stuff was being done that meant this stuff we're seeing now couldn't have happened, but it has. And yet, as I say that, I'm mindful of a clip of Joe Rogan that's doing the rounds on social media, which is from last summer, in which he talks about a previous conversation he had with a firefighter. Let's take a listen.
I talked to a fireman once. This is...
Yeah, we're basically saying that a firefighter told him if the wind blows in the wrong direction, the fire will be incapable of being stopped. I don't want to play that because Joe Rogan he says so many bad words, bro. I don't want to play it.
Do.
No, I mean, Michael, very prescient there. So people can't claim they didn't think this might happen. Literally, Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster of the world, is openly telling everybody what a firefighter told him was likely to happen. And that was a few months ago. What is your take on what you think has really been behind all this?
Well, I think that in terms of what actually caused this fire, we're still trying to figure that out. But it's clear that LA is a city that's built in a fire zone. Wildfires are endemic to the land. And we need to take that into account with the way that we govern this city and the way that we budget for emergency services and fire prevention. And I think that the city leaders do need to be held accountable for managing and preventing fires in a realistic way. We only spent $42 million per year on fire prevention. And I think we need to talk about how that budget is being allocated compared to other spending, like billions of dollars going to policing and the repairs on a reservoir that should have taken a week have taken more than a year. I think that those types of things absolutely should be coming under the magnifying glass. But I think that the point that Joe Rogan made
why is California ran so crazy as opposed to other states? I mean, obviously Gavin Newsom, but they are way behind the curve on a lot of things. You would think they'd be more progressive and faster acting with things, but they're not.
In that clip is right that this type of thing is going to happen. It's impossible to prevent fire devastation in the city of LA. but we can definitely mitigate it, and we need to be doing a really good job at mitigating it. And I think that this fire is showing that there are some gaps in our plan. It's really tragic.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute tragedy. And there is an argument, Amala, that no one could have done anything to stop something quite like this, because it's been a freakish set of circumstances of a Santa Ana wind, which anyone, as I say, if you live in LA long enough, you know all about the Santa Anas.
Emmanuel, I don't know, like, the way they handle this, insane. Juan Morales said our California was more worried about an endangered species of fish. That's what I heard. I heard.
They come like the Mistrals in France, and when they come, you wake up and you a lot of howling wind, and your garden's covered in crap, and we're all used to it. What's different here is the wind.
But one thing is, like, all the people that are affected by the fires in terms of losing their houses, to pull permits to have their homes rebuilt is going to be a nightmare. A nightmare.
Were at 100 miles an hour. That's hurricane force winds, and it coupled with a fire. And when you have 100-mile-an-hour winds blowing across a city with a fire, it's a.
Planeto said these Americans can't put out a fire. Yeah, you gotta understand, like, California. Like, if you're getting 100-mile-an-hour winds and you don't have like immediate, like, water in the immediate area to help you put these fires out, it's gonna be a problem. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a big problem. So it's not as easy as like another city to do it, you know.
It's a perfect hellish storm. So let me preface this by saying, you know, it may be nothing could have stopped this from doing what it did. However, I think you have a view, contrary to what Mark said, that DEI and wokeness have played a part in the failures here. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that we're going to learn in the days to come about these fires. As Jillian and I believe Mark mentioned, we're still waiting to see the cause of a lot of these fires. It's totally understandable to me that this is what happens in LA, that we can pretty much imagine that this is going to occur to some extent. But we can also see a department that has, in my opinion, wasted time and resources on these woke agenda pieces like diversity, equity, and inclusion. Where could that time and where could those resources have gone? What could they have been allocated to when it comes to response to these fires? Not only that, I'm seeing reports on social media, I don't know about anybody else, of arsonists, looters.
Yeah, she's right about that. Like, I've seen, like, we looked at a video, bro. Like, we reacted to a video. There was a guy that got caught trying to start a fire in California. They caught him and the police arrested him. Like, people are like running around starting fires now. That's crazy.
And this is sort of a culture that we've created.
Let me see if I can show y'all this. See if I still got it on my Twitter. Let me go to my likes real quick. What do y'all be like posting on Twitter? Y'all is crazy. Hold up. Yeah, right here.
Put him down. He's starting a fire. We need to get that from him. Put it down. Put it down! Put it down right now! Put it down! Fucking crap!
He was trying to, they caught him. He's trying to start a fire.
West Hills fire because that was started at a parking lot. It's going to come over here and light up this area.
Oh my gosh. No, this is crazy. I can't even believe it because I'm like
a 30-year-old guy, you know.
Crazy because I'm like, how does a fire jump literal cities?
I know. I can understand there, but all the way over
exactly.
To West Hills,
that doesn't make any sense. Okay.
You hear what she said? She was like, how can like a fire jump literal cities? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, embers and stuff like that can burn in the, you know, fly in the wind and burn the next house and all of that, right? But like jumping over cities, it's people, I feel like, and I'm not 100% sure it's happening everywhere in California, but they literally just caught somebody that was trying to do it.
You know?
Crazy, because I'm like, how does a fire jump literal cities?
I know. I can understand there, but all the way over
exactly.
To West Hills,
that doesn't make any sense. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for letting me know, guys.
Yeah.
So they're starting fires, bro.
here in Los Angeles, here in California, with the way that we've been soft on crime, with the different policies that we've pushed forward. So honestly, I think we're at this moment of just waiting for information. But as Jillian said, you can also see that reservoir that held what should have been 117 million gallons of water was not working. The brush cleanup that should have been happening for decades was not happening. You have Rick Caruso here in Los Angeles, who was running for leadership. He managed to save his land, his properties, and he did so through proper planning and being proactive. So what could we have done in this city? Probably a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Lamont Hill, you know, I saw you shaking your head there, but I'm not quite sure what you're shaking your head about. Because anyone who's lived in LA, like I said, it's been clear. Two things have been clear. Newsom has had a lot of rhetoric about being tough on crime and sorting out the homeless problem and so on. And the complete reverse has happened. You know, even in Beverly Hills, where I live, and I go to lots of other parts of the city when I'm in LA, but even in Beverly Hills, the degree of homelessness, the degree of crime, violent crime involving guns, right in the middle of Beverly Hills at lunchtime, shootouts in restaurants and things, that never used to happen, I can tell you. It was never like it is now. So there's no doubt to my mind that when Amala says what she said there about issues like the crime increasing and so on, it's indisputable. If you live there, you know it.
Right. I mean,
Amala, she has some pretty good points. But it's like a lot of, all right, so Amala is like a conservative, right? I'm a conservative. But sometimes you get like conservative grifters, right? That try to like be anti-black everything, right? Just so they could be that one token black person, you know, that people be like, yeah, they think like us, you know what I mean? So they can get all the followers, you know, like the Hodge twins is like that. The Hodge twins, Officer Tatum's like that. She's kind of not really like that much, you know what I mean? So like, I take heed a little bit more of what she's saying, you know, about like all the money that was spent on DUI education that could have been used elsewhere. Just like Patty Sipes in a comment section, what she said earlier, she said they spent over $500,000 doing DEI training and then took $200,000 away from each of the different fire departments throughout California, accounting to over $100 million. That is crazy. That's crazy. Super chats is open.
One were not watching this video and only hearing it, they would think that I shook my head when we were talking about crime and homelessness. I didn't.
Well, you seem to.
When I shook my head,
I'm sorry.
What I shook my head to was the issue around the quote unquote woke policies and DEI policies. Right. That specifically is what I'm addressing. So we don't have to guess. I'm telling you what it was. The idea that there's some relationship between the fires and the department's investment in DEI policies. Even Amala herself has said, you know, we're going to find out if that's the case. But why are we beginning from a premise that that is the case? Is anything possible? Sure. But there's no evidence of it. Also, the idea of calling it a wasted effort to me is a bit bizarre. As
another thing is, because like I said about the grifters, right? Just anything like pro equality and, you know, they're going to be against it. Right, so I kind of am agreeing a little bit with Mark Lamont. All right, so y'all tell me what y'all thinking in the comment section, because like, why does it always start with a lot of conservatives, like the grifters or like the conservative pundits, right? They always want to start with, well, if we didn't do this with DEI or we didn't do this with affirmative action, then we could have did all of this. And it's like, well, what about all the other programs that are bloat programs? Like, y'all don't start talking about that first. Why do y'all always jump to whatever's equity and inclusion and all that? Like, why do y'all always jump to that first? So I kind of am agreeing like with Mark Lamont on this. It's like, where's the hard evidence that DEI is actually the problem? And you know, like a lot of business owners do not want DEI. They don't want to be spending money on DEI. They don't want, you see what I'm saying? And a lot of ultra, I would say, far-right fascist type conservatives don't like DEI at all. Nothing about it. You know, so they just want to, they will support you in mad different ways. Lots of money, lots of everything. All right, for you to talk against it. But I'm kind of like agreeing a little bit with Mark Lamont. It's like, why do y'all just start with this first? You know what I mean? That's something that people need to actually take a look at. That's why I said, like, sometimes, like, Mark Lamont, he may actually be on point with some of the things.
I'm sure you know it, or maybe
Keith said DEI is racist. How? If it's inclusion, how is it racist? I'm not saying it's not. I'm just asking you in the comment section, how is it racist? We all are learning things in you know what I mean? As things go on. I'm not hard-headed to the fact, like, if you can prove that it's racist, fine. But I'm asking you, how is it racist?
you don't. I'm talking to the audience, not you two in particular. The department had a significant problem with sexual harassment. The department had a significant problem with racial discrimination. It's acknowledged that the department had multiple firefighters sue. The department acknowledged that they were overrepresented by white men and underrepresented by other groups. And to be clear,
you hear
that's
what he just said? This is something that people don't want to hear. Overrepresented by white men, underrepresented by minorities. But there's a flip side with that, right? Sometimes people are just not as qualified. I'm not saying that the black people that, you know, may have tried to be, maybe an Asian person may have tried to be, you know, one of the management or something like that, the fire department. I'm not saying that they're underqualified, but sometimes they put underqualified people in positions that shouldn't be in those positions just because they are of a certain race, right? So that becomes an issue. So, but I don't know. What do y'all think? Try to be an open-minded about this.
statistical analysis. That's not a subjective assessment.
But he's right. Like, it's a lot of times it's like these companies, like, even if it's supposed to be like a city type organization, like fire department or EMS or whatever, it'd be like little to no like representation of like minorities in there. That'd be an issue, bro. That'd be a problem.
So the idea of calling it a wasted effort to me is a bit bizarre, as I'm sure.
And he said black people in America talk about race too much. Mark Lamont never brought that up. Piers Morgan and them brought that up. Mark Lamont didn't bring that up. If you look at Piers Morgan's title, it said woefully incompetent, LA wildfires, Gavin Newsom crisis in DEI. Mark Lamont never brought any of that up. I think when y'all hear like a black person speak on something, it's annoying to you. You see what I'm saying? Because you probably have heard, like, you know what I mean? You may have paid attention to black people speaking on it, like certain type of people. But this is Piers Morgan's show. Piers Morgan brought this up. Mark Lamont is just speaking on whatever question he was asked.
Sure, you know it, or maybe you don't. I'm talking to the audience, not you two in particular. The department had a significant problem with sexual harassment. The department had a significant problem with racial discrimination. It's acknowledged that the department.
And Keith is a black guy, said, you're giving preference to race or serial oriented. And he said, hold on, let me get to another one. What Keith said. He said, look at Biden cabinet picks.
Had multiple firefighters sue. The department acknowledged that they were overrepresented by white men and underrepresented by other groups. And to be clear, that's a statistical analysis. That's not a subjective assessment. It's not a moral judgment. I'm saying you're overrepresented demographically.
Yeah, Nap. I think your name is NAPBACK. Nat Backpack or something like that, said discrimination is annoying too. It is very annoying. It's like, yo, we can't get past this. This is ridiculous. This is 2025, bro. This is ridiculous. This is not the 60s and the 50s and the 40s. Like, what? But, you know, to be real, some people are just not qualified to do the jobs. It happens. You know, so I don't know.
So in light of that, my question would be, if you don't think they needed an inclusion or equity initiative, how should they have responded? This is to Amala. How should they have responded to the proven cases of discrimination, sexism, and harassment that were happening in the department? What should they have done instead of having an initiative?
Okay, well, fair enough. Amala?
Yeah. Sure, I can answer that. Yeah, when we're looking at those cases that you've just spoken about, sure, we should hear out every single case of sexual harassment and discrimination, especially if we can prove that it's on the basis of race, or we can prove that there is ill intent within a department. Now, that's not what's being articulated by the LAFD. They are saying that they are looking specifically for people of certain races, of particular gender backgrounds, and we should be moving towards a race-neutral future. If you want people to be judged on the content of their character, of their abilities, their intelligence, their strength, which is very important when it comes to the fire department, you should do exactly that. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're a woman. It has nothing to do with your race. And as we saw that assistant fire chief state, she's speaking about diversity, equity, and inclusion through a lens of wanting people who look like her to be in the department, wanting to be able to show up to houses of California residents that apparently look like her.
Hold on, Amala.
Gender backgrounds, and we should be moving towards a race-neutral future. If you want people to be judged on the content of their character, of their abilities, their intelligence, their strength, which is very important.
Okay, so she's grifting now. She is. Because she's saying like, oh, we should be moving towards like a neutral future. If things were like they were in the 60s, that seemed like not to really get better until they really did affirmative action, things would just be totally lopsided. I think affirmative action and like DEI has helped a little bit to make it, you know, like the workplace not look so white. It has. So like, how are we like going to move towards like a neutral thing if you don't have those things in place? Like, what is she talking about? She is grifting to the white, bro. Her audience. And I know because I've reacted to a lot of like Amala videos on here. I got videos with over 100,000 views. Like, she's been on some of the stuff that we've reacted to. She is grifting to her white audience. Because come on, Stephanie don't want like all these like black girls like running. You know what I'm saying? Kevin don't like that. Let's be real. So if they can get a mouthpiece like her to say things like that, oh, they're going to super support her. You know what I mean? They're going to like donate to her. They're going to like follow her, all of that. She know what she doing. She know dang well that affirmative action has helped to at least like bring some black people in. She knows that. But she's trying to act like she don't know that. Like it would just happen like without all that. No, there's a reason why like the far right, you know what I'm saying? Thug life, it is what it is. It's a reason why they want to get rid of DEI. They want everything to be white. I'm not saying the right, I'm saying the far right. Well, it's what they want. They don't want like DEI. They don't want none of this. You know, but y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm just trying to be objective. Somebody said no, affirmative action does not help.
When it comes to the fire department, you should do exactly that. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're a woman. It has nothing to do with your race. And as we saw that assistant fire chief state, she's speaking about diversity, equity, inclusion.
Keith said discriminate of white Christian is okay. Who said that that's okay? I think none of it is right. But if you look through history, there's been a lot of discrimination against minorities. There has been. You don't think it has? Did you just forget like all of them like slave movies that was like, have you forgot about all that? Y'all are quick to forget that really happened. You know?
Through a lens of wanting.
And it ain't handouts. Hey, Gary. So Gary Order said handouts don't help, right? Some people that are, what did I say earlier? I said affirmative action has positives and negatives, right? Because sometimes you do get people in positions that may not be qualified to get those positions. Sometimes it can be a problem. DEI can be a problem sometimes. I said that, right? But there's a flip side to everything. The other side to it, right, is that you can have somebody qualify and they may not get the opportunity because they're black or Asian or Hispanic. That can happen. So if you don't have some of this stuff in place, That could be an issue. Imagine like going to school like all of these years, because it happens a lot. Whether or not you become a nurse or whether or not you become a, trying to be an executive and this and that and the third, right? And then somebody comes along, blue-eyed, blonde hair, blue eyes, no, way less than you, and they got promoted over. That happens a lot. So it doesn't matter how much she grifts, because this is what she's doing. That doesn't take away the truth. And then Tommy Hurt said, "Can't we all just get along?" Y'all know I'm right. Mark Lamont is low-key right, bro. I don't be agreeing with him all the time. And I'm conservative. But I'm not blind. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said, if you walk into a job interview doing this, see what I'm saying? This is how they think. If you walk into the job interview doing a steaky leg pants sagging, then yes. This is how they think. Like the opinions, the stereotypes of it. This is how they think. I've seen somebody go into a job interview with jeans on, you know what I'm saying, and a t-shirt on and get a higher position than somebody came in there right with a suit on. A black person. Like, I've seen stuff like that, bro. Nepotism happens too. Hollywood should be called nepotism, right? It'd be like mad people. Look at Jake Gyllenhaal's like whole family. That's all like nepotism. You know what I'm saying? Or even like I was in a movie. I was in Pure Country Gift with what's the girl's name from Iron Man? I can't remember her name. You know what I'm saying? But she like real popular. She's on Iron Man. She played Iron Man's. She white. I can't remember her name. She played Iron Man's wife. Hold on. What's her name? Hold on. Gwyneth Paltrow. I played her personal security, right? Her family tree. That's why she in movies like that and she getting paid like mad bread over everybody else. It's her family, bro. Like, it's like nepotism is real. But as far as like in the job market, bro, it ain't really about like your skills that much no more. Even Elon Musk has been saying that. You know what I mean? It ain't really about that. Sometimes it's about who you know. Sometimes you just know somebody. But a lot of times you go into that job interview, if you don't look a certain way, they're going to be thinking twice about you. It happens.
People who look like her to be in the department, wanting to be able to show up to houses of California residents that apparently look like her so she can serve them better. And she's not really speaking to her capabilities. As she even stated in her own video, she'd be incapable of carrying a man out of a fire. So your articulation of diversity, equity, inclusion is very different from what we're getting. And let's not forget that diversity, equity, and inclusion is based out of critical race.
So Amala, now she's going to the point, right? To where like, all right, DI, right? So what if a woman can't carry a man out of a burning house? Should she not be in that position? That brings up another point. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, like that. Hey, what about a female police officer may not be able to do what a male police officer can do physically? Should she be a police officer or no? So you just say that, oh, you can't be a police officer. You see what I'm saying? Or you can't like work the beat. You can't be out on the street. You can be a police officer in the office or do something else, but you can't be out on the street because you can't do so. If a dude hauls off and now you scrapping with a dude, it's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Should that be something that should be considered? I don't know. She bringing up a whole like. She bringing up a lot. You know, what do y'all think about that? Cal Carter said, we are all in this soup together. We should make the best of it. Enough fighting. We need to get together and get the problem solved. But that's never going to happen, Kyle. It's never going to happen. Somebody said, no. Beautiful black women have as much power than a white, cute woman. Said, no, beautiful black women have as much power than a white, cute woman. Debbie, I believe you. I believe you. Bro, if you see a Barbie walk into the the job. Bro, she getting like a dope position. It's gonna happen. They gonna second guess that black lady. It happens a lot. You know what I'm saying? He said, bro did a 180 and well, hey, I'm trying to be objective. Like each point, like I want to argue each point. Sometimes she right, sometimes she grifts. Somebody said, why are there no female Navy SEALs? I don't know. Like, did they apply? Glovin B said everything is, hold on. Peter McGinn said a female might not be strong enough to do the job, and we need to pretend it's still a question if she should get the job. Wow. So, like I said earlier, there's positives and negatives with DEI, right? I've said that. When I'm arguing one point or I'm talking about one point, it doesn't mean I believe like every point. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's skin is of no consequence. Hey, the person just said skin is of no consequence. Flower. Are you white or are you black? Are you Asian? Are you Spanish? What are you? Because it's always the people that are white. I'm just saying what it is. Like, oh, skin color doesn't matter. Oh, really? Like, come on. Like, let's be real. Somebody said Navy SEAL training is too extreme for women. Mm-hmm. But then, like, it goes down to, like, having a surgeon, right? Let's just say you got, like, an Indian surgeon. Or would you want somebody, like, less qualified to perform a surgery on you just so that the surgery team could look diverse? You know what I mean? Who would you want to do surgery on you? Somebody that's qualified or somebody that may not be qualified that might look like you? These are questions that people got to ask. You know what I'm saying? If you keeping it all the way. Or who you want to work on your car? If you take your car to a mechanic, do you want the person that might not know how to work on a car? That might pick that transmission up and drop it? You know what I'm saying? Like, or do you want somebody that know what they do? You know what I don't know, man. DEI, I feel like it has its moments, but it's got some flaws along with it. Hit the like button, Thug Life. Double tap the screen, all of that. Hit the emojis. I can see it on my end. Key said, if she is fire, then we'll find some fire. Bro, I've never seen like a super hot unemployed lady. I'll take that back, right? I've seen them. They're either living at home, right? And their husband or boyfriend is working, making all the money, and they can chill, right? They be on TikTok all day, cook, clean, all of that. Or they work barely and they get dope positions. So I don't know. Debbie said, thank you. My dad did cars, young man. And then Glovin said the homeless dude under the bridge. Travis Simmons said DEI is never a good idea. Elaine said definitely qualified, do not care how you look. Your boy said it ain't about what we want, stuff here already. And then Gary said host is showing us DEI do not work. Y'all is crazy, bro.
Theory, which is fundamentally flawed. If we truly want race neutrality and people to be judged based off of their abilities, we should do exactly that.
Yeah, and
but that I hear what you said, Amala, but it ain't like that. Like people be, bro, you can't even wear tattoos at some jobs. That's like something that ain't got nothing to do with your race. They ain't got nothing to do with none of that. Like a regular tattoo, you got to have covered up at a lot of jobs. So if they can't take tattoos, you think they gonna take people like other things? Like, come on, bro. Maybe I see it a little bit more because I'm in Tennessee, right? I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. When I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, I seen racism, but it was flipped. I seen a lot of black people that was racist when I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, right? Racist against white people. Like they wouldn't hire them. They like if they was in positions of power, they wouldn't hire white people. They beat up on white people when they was in school, when we was in school. Like I seen the reverse, right? But now that I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, I see, you know what I'm saying? Like you ain't getting that position if you don't look the color. You know what I'm saying? Cedric said that is culture bias. Glovin B said it's only beneficial in confusing blame. It is tactic used by a certain very small group. Yeah. And then Evil Santa said, how about make a company and do not put DEI in it? It's their company, let them run it how they want. Is DEI mandatory? Let me see that.
Interesting. I mean, Mark, I'll come back to you.
So you said three things
hang on, Mark. I'll come back to you for a quick response, and I go to Gillian. But Mark, it's come at the same week that we saw Mark Zuckerberg basically ending.
All right, I think this is relative. Is kind of about what we're talking about. Relevant. Hold on. It said, "What is DEI and why is it dividing America?" Demonstrators for and against the U.S. Supreme Court decision to strike down race-conscious student admissions programs at Harvard University and the University of North Carolina confront each other in Washington, U.S. Bro, like Harvard, right? There's been a lot of people complaining, having 4.0s, like super high, like grade point averages, black, and they can't get in. So, I mean, it said diversity, equity, and inclusion programs have come under attack in boardrooms, state legislators, and college campuses across the country. Since 2023, 81 anti-DEI bills that target programs at colleges have been introduced in 28 states and in Congress, according to a tally by the Chronicle of Higher Education. 8 have been signed into law in states like Texas and Florida. In 2023, survey by the Pew Research Center found that 52% of employed U.S. adults say they have DEI training or meetings at work, and 33% say they have a designated staff member who promotes DEI. But recently, some companies have slashed teams dedicated to DEI, and wealthy corporate leaders such as Bill Ackman and Elon Musk have made posts on social media that describe diversity programs. Critics say DEI programs are discriminatory and attempts to solve racial discrimination by disadvantaging other groups, particularly white Americans. But supporters and industry experts insist that decades-old practice have been politicized and is widely misunderstood. What is DEI? CNN I can't believe we're looking at CNN. CNN interviewed 7 DEI experts and industry leaders and asked each to define diversity, equity, and inclusion. Although their responses vary slightly, most had a shared vision of what constitutes DEI. Diversity is embracing the differences everyone brings to the table, whether it's someone's race, age, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, physical ability, or other aspects of social identity. Equity is treating everyone fairly and providing equal opportunity. And inclusion is respecting everyone's voice and creating a culture where people from all backgrounds feel encouraged to express their ideals and perspectives. Daniel Opung, founder of the Courage Collective consultancy that advises companies on DEI, said DEI was created because marginalized communities have not always had equal opportunity for jobs or felt a sense of belonging in major white corporate settings. So, I mean, I think that's how I kind of look at it. That is the genesis of why some of these programs exist, he said. It was an attempt to try to create workplaces where more or all people can thrive. When did workplaces start embracing DEI? The backlash against DEI may feel like a pendulum swing from 2020, but the DEI practices have been around for decades. Dominique Hollins, founder of DEI consulting firm WE360, said the origins of DEI programs date back to the civil rights movement, which played a pivotal role in accelerating efforts to create more diverse and inclusive workforces. So, like, even people believe, oh, civil rights wasn't necessary. Like, what? I don't know, bruh. I don't know, man. Like, people will be against anything. But Turbo Tony said, not sure black people can see it, but you guys normally have a chip on your shoulders with attitude. If I'm running a business, that's not the face I want representing me. So Tony just said, he doesn't want a black face to represent him or his company because he feels like black people have chips on their shoulders. So he basically is not going to hire them. This is what he's saying. So I ask y'all again, is DEI necessary? He's literally telling you right here in the comment section because he feels like a bunch of black people have chips on their shoulders. That's very interesting. And then Mark said, I don't think people are mad about the race part of DEI as they are mad about the LGBTQ part of DEI. Yeah. And then Calm Down, it's a joke, said another DEI and Democrats success story. And then Cedric said diversity of thought offers greater benefits than diversity of appearance. Your thoughts influence your behaviors and your behaviors shape your opportunities. DEI is solely focused on appearance. And then Lofi Machina said stereotype. Turbo said the attitude problem. All right, so we talked negative about Turbo's opinion, right? Saying that he doesn't want black people representing his company because he feels like black people are operating with chips on their shoulders, right? Sometimes he's right. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been to different companies and you ask like, you know, customer service questions and a black person just, you know what I'm saying? Like mad attitude. Like I've had to go to the hospital before. You know what I'm saying? I was drinking a soda and the tap from the soda, I swallowed it on accident. I had to go, bro, like black people be like rude. Some of them are like, you get the best customer service ever from some black people. But more often than not, when you're dealing with African Americans, you get some rude like customer service, bro. They mad, they upset that they gotta work. They be coming to work late. Like sometimes that be happening. They come to work late. You ask them to do something, they get mad. Quicker than that be happening, bruh. You be looking for them, they in the break room. Dog life, that be happening. You know, so not always, but it does happen sometimes. Like even if you you get something escalated to manager, like if you go somewhere and it's escalated up to management, right? And you talking to the manager, if it's a black person, sometimes you're gonna get that attitude, bro. Like you just try to explain. Like you be getting that. So Tony ain't all the way wrong when he's saying that. You know what I'm saying? Or like we be going into the job sometimes. Like I wish somebody would talk to me crazy. You know what I'm saying? We go in there with an immediate like attitude. We be doing that sometimes, bro. Like he ain't lying. You know, but then you get like the super sweet like black people. You gonna get the best customer service for, oh, can I help you, baby? What you need? You know, it depends. But sometimes you get them white folks don't want to help you. Say anything to tell you no. You know what I'm saying? Or redirect you or get you out of there. You know, or get an attitude that they gotta like it be both ways, bro. And like Papa Smurf said, I've seen some really nice black people, even Asian people. Like if you want to talk about racism, bro, go to an Asian store. Watch how they treat you. They're gonna let you know you're black when you go in there, like the way you get treated. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's a difference between black and white business. I'm just gonna say what it is. Black people, we overcharge each other. That's why I stopped going to like all black companies. I don't just go to like a company just because it's black or a business because I know I'm going to be overcharged. And I'm not even going to get like great customer service a lot of times. So it just, it just depends. But as far as DEI, I don't know, man. I don't be some LG. I mean, I don't shout out to them, thug life. You know what I mean? But some of y'all, like LG people, I ain't gonna even say the rest of the word. Some of y'all be wilding. Like, I went to Best Buy, right? I had an issue. I had bought like a portable AC unit from my shed, right? Because I got like a theater in my shed and all that. So I had an issue to where the portable AC unit gave me a problem, right? So I had to take it in and I got the total tech support and all of that. And so I went to the Geek Squad, right? And it was one of them LG people there. And I'm like, excuse me, explaining the situation, attitude, rolling the hair, like he wilding. And I'm like, I'm kind of like wanting to get smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, but, it just, But it just depends, man. DEI, I don't know. I mean, we see grifters in a play. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes not. But like what Amala was saying, like, if you can't like physically pick a dude up to get him out of a place and you're supposed to be a firefighter, like DEI, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
All of Meta's DEI programs, along with a complete reversal of everything else you could call woke policy. I mean, it seems to me that the wind is blowing.
Hit the like button, y'all non-super chatters. Hit the like button, double tap the screen and hit the hearts and all that. I can see if y'all doing it. Y'all trying to play me, bro.
Football, I wouldn't use that phrase because there's obviously a much bigger, more problematic wind blowing. But there is a change in direction from companies that you would say were very liberal skewed, like Meta and others, to just get rid of all DEI programs because they've concluded, and you may have a view about this, that they actually they are wrong. They promote mediocrity. They're not meritocratic in the way that companies should be, in my view. And it's happening quite fast now.
Hey, Cedric said, LG people, I'm screaming. You are actually fun. Hey, no, I can't be saying it. It's YouTube. I got to be careful. Like, even if you being like super fair, like you got to be careful. Like they got a strong hold on everything, bro. The LG people, bro. Peter said, did you need DEI personally? Hold on. Street Culture said DEI is being used wrong. Peter said, did you need DEI personally? Papa Smurf said, is it true a lot of black people need attitude adjustments? Yo, Papa Smurf, chill out, bro. And then JP said, Sarah Thomas is white female referee for women. And then Keith said, discrimination against white people and Asian is fine. Question mark. I think, bro, I don't know. I'm not Asian, bro. But I feel like Asians be treated like better than a lot of different races. They do. Like, y'all automatically assume that they own a company. Plus, they don't like, the reason why you don't see a lot of Asians like complaining about stuff like, an Asian gonna come here and they gonna open up a company. You know what I'm saying? They not trying to work for nobody. I ain't trying to work for no white man, no black man, no Hispanic person, nothing. No LG people, nothing. They trying to come here and work for themselves. Self-sufficient. That's how Asians are. That's why you don't be seeing them like complaining about stuff. And they be having like every new iPhone, the new Lexus. They be having big houses. They don't be seeing like what y'all be seeing, what we be seeing. They be looking like, why everybody mad? Like, you know what I mean? And they be looking at America like America is the greatest part of, because they do what you're supposed to do in America. You're not supposed to be working for people. You're supposed to come here, get your company popping, get your LLC and get to running. You know what I'm saying? Then they get their whole family here and their whole family be working. You know what I'm saying? For each other. They all living in the same house. You know, they know how to do it right. So yeah, they got everything, bro. So I don't know. I think they look at things differently, maybe. So, you know, I don't know, man. Shout out to the LG people, man. I'm not. Mr. Kenneth said, yes, you are right. YouTube may be going soon. Like, what are you talking about? Key said, not when it comes to college admissions. Manuel Cole said, Facebook really for TikTok, man. Bro, look, if I'm a social media company, I want TikTok to go. I do not want TikTok here, because once TikTok goes, where all them people gonna go? They're gonna go to the next platform. I don't care what they say. Oh, let's delete Facebook. Let's delete Instagram. No, they're gonna be on it watching Instagram reels. That's what they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I think TikTok need to be banned. That's my controversial opinion. We're gonna get, not to digress too much, I think it needs to be banned. How many times have you been on TikTok and it asks you, do you want your contacts to be on there? You say no, and they still pull up people. Then you be seeing people that you work with and stuff. It's like, why am I like seeing this? And if you seeing that, they seeing your stuff. You see what I'm saying? They don't care. They just mine like all of your data. That's why I don't care. Like, if it, like, yeah, people they don't want TikTok to go because they're addicted to it. I think it needs to go. I don't care. Bro, I don't know how many times I've been on an app looking at something and something in relation to it pop up on my TikTok. Bro, I will never forget this. Last night, right? So my girl, she bought me one of them, and watch, I'm gonna talk about this, and it's probably gonna end up popping up on one of y'all search bars, right? So my girl, she bought me like an electric toothbrush. No, my girl's mom bought me like an electric toothbrush, right? And I went and I used it, right? And this is like one of the first times I'm playing, you know, messing around with the electric toothbrush, right? So I used it. I tell you, bro, it wasn't even 5 minutes late. Like, after I got done using the electric toothbrush, I just used an electric toothbrush. I get on TikTok and it's an advertisement for an electric toothbrush. I'm like, how did you even know? Like, how did you know? Bro, TikTok is invasive. I don't care. Like, and then they want to get on, like, the United States Supreme Court lawyers want to, I mean, you know, TikTok lawyers want to argue in front of the United States Supreme Court. Oh, well, it's freedom of speech. You're trying to take away Americans' freedom of speech. Y'all don't even have freedom of speech on TikTok. I don't care. They don't. Like, say the wrong thing. Like, y'all could be like trolling in the comments on here. YouTube lets you rock. Like, TikTok, no. They will take your comment down. They will take your audio. They will take your video. They will do everything to you. You know what I'm saying? So ain't no freedom of speech over there. So what? Like, they got the nerve, and that ain't even what, like, they arguing. Like the Supreme Court was telling them, they're like, no, like, Congress is saying that you guys are data mining and taking people's data. You know what I'm saying? Without their consent, you know, and then, like, you're probably going to end up sharing that data with, like, our enemies. That's what they're arguing. We all know what it is. They just don't want TikTok because it's a platform that's not in America that they can't control, is what it really is. But as far as the data mining, I think they telling the truth with it. I think TikTok need to go. That's my opinion. I ain't too, like, addicted to any app to where I think it, you know what I mean? It don't really affect my life. Like, yeah, I do like TikTok, but it need to go, bro. Somebody said everything on the internet is mine. No, you're right. And then Shelby said Google is like, bro, all of them are, but TikTok really be wilding. Debbie said they stick together. They put their money together. The oldest brother takes care of everything. I raised an Albanian child. So you talking about like Asians? Yeah, like Asians be doing it right. It's not just the Asians, even like the people like that come from like Saudi Arabia and like places like that. They be doing what, like, if you like, I got a motorcycle, right? I'll be like, sometimes, like, even my Tesla, right? I'll just like, I might charge up. I just ride through like different neighborhoods that you like. When I first got my electric car and I realized, I'm like, oh, I don't even know how to put gas in. I can just go anywhere I want. Bro, I started driving to like all these like super wealthy, nice neighborhoods, bro. And what I noticed, it's a lot of Asians that live there, and it's a lot of like Afghani people that live there. It's a lot of Iraqi people live there, like really super nice neighborhoods. Like, I'm talking about mansions and stuff, not like regular houses. Like, so I see a lot of that over there, bro. I don't see many people that look like me. Like when I'm driving through, like Brentwood and like all of that. Like I don't see like people that look like me. I be seeing like them. You know, so like Asians and stuff like that. I think they just got it together, man. Like they're more family oriented. You know,
since the big Trump win over Kamala Harris, who represented all this woke stuff to her bootstraps. What's your response to that?
Well, I think you're right to say that corporate investment in DEI was always cynical. They never cared about diversity, equity, or inclusion. They did it because it was popular. After the uprisings following the murder of George Floyd, it was popular to say you were down with DEI, so they did it. And a lot of those companies never actually even turned in the money. They never actually followed up on the promises that they made. And now that it's no longer popular, they're pulling back.
Yo, hey, Kumar, chill. He said, Turbo, give the African Americans loans and see. Chill out, man. What's up with you, bruh? I don't know. He ain't lying, though. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, the bait gonna have to track them down with a blick. Give me my money back.
Corporate America does what's good for business, not what's good for people. But I reject your claim that DEI is not meritocratic or it undermines meritocracy. The data contradicts that. The decades of studies contradict that. I also reject Amala's claim that the fire.
I cannot believe Kumar said that, bro. He ain't lying though. Thug life, he ain't lying. You know what I'm saying? Cedric said, did he lie though? Nah, he ain't lying, bro. Like. Bro, I've loaned money to black people, bro. Bro, I low-key had, have you seen Menace to Society, bro? I low-key had to get a ski mask and run down to get my money back. Bro. Check out them PP. How many people paid back them PPP loans? Yo, he not lying, bro.
Our department was doing something systemic in response to something that was individual. You know, she said they should have adjudicated those cases, but not going on this big initiative to have different hiring practices. I think maybe what you missed was the complaints themselves were about a systemic failure to hire qualified black people, to hire qualified women. So again, when you talk about DEI, it's not about getting unqualified black and brown and women in a room of qualified white men. It's about saying there's 10 qualified people in this room. The first 6 we've hired have been white men. Maybe the next 4 shouldn't be, when demographically there's enough black.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to her, Lamont. Talk to her. Mark Lamont's talking facts. If you got 10 white people in the room and you done already hired 6, 10 people in the room, you already done hired 6 like white people. All right, bruh. Something got to be done. Like, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I think Amala is grifting. And I think Mark Lamont is talking facts. Shout out to Mark Lamont, bro. I used to give you a hard time, bro. But shout out to you, bro.
To have different hiring practices. I think maybe what you missed was the complaints themselves were about a systemic failure to hire qualified black.
Hey, but pleasant gift. All right, so I'm gonna be real with you, right? So Turbo, all y'all, Kumar, right? So Kumar said, like, yo, try giving an African American person a loan, right? Well, try giving some of these white people loans. You know what they do? They don't pay it back. They just file for bankruptcy. Thug life. Thug life. Y'all be doing it too. Y'all showed us how to do it. I'm saying what it is. Y'all will file for bankruptcy in a heartbeat. Stop playing, Kumar. Gary Order said, you assume the employer is racist. Father said, PPP loans didn't go just to black people. Ronnie Bush said, bull.
People to hire qualified women. So again, when you talk about DEI, it's not about getting unqualified black and brown and women in a room of qualified white.
Hey, in this chat, it go both ways, bro. I don't be just black and all, you know what I'm saying, just white. Cedric with the $1.99, I appreciate you, bro, for sponsoring this. Appreciate that.
men. It's about saying there's 10 qualified people in this room. The first 6 we've hired have been white men. Maybe the next 4 shouldn't be, when demographically there's enough black people here, or enough women, or whomever.
Yeah, but hang on, but that's exactly the point, which is when it comes to firefighting, actually, no. Sorry, I just want the best people for the job. Sorry.
Piers! No, Piers, no! No! Piers doing it too. Chill, Piers.
I do. If I'm a homeowner in LA, I don't care what color they are, what sexuality they are, what gender they are.
May I ask you a question about that, Piers?
Hang on, Mark. I don't care about any of it.
No,
I
Piers
just care, are they the best available people to save me from a fire? End.
Piers
You're misrepresenting
facts.
the issue, though. No one is saying that the best qualified people shouldn't be hired. The issue is, again, there are 10 people in a room.
Yeah.
They're going to hire 8 of them. The first 6 they've hired have been white men.
Yeah.
Of the remaining people, there are qualified white men and qualified black men and qualified black women. The issue historically in that department has been...
Hey, Shirley, you bet not. Shirley Riley, you bet not. Talking about bye. You better stay in here.
Even when the
DJ Fusion said, why applying to a job? No one wants to be around you anyway. Keep trying to apply. You can't beat racism. Y'all is crazy, bruh. DJ Fusion, chill. And then your boy said, that's like saying Master P hired 6 black rappers. His next 4 rappers got to be white, female, Chinese, and LG. Y'all is crazy, bruh. Hey, your boy, you low-key right, though.
women have been qualified, even when the black men have been qualified, they still have not gotten hired. It's not that black people have gotten not hired and they're unqualified. It's they've been qualified and not hired. And so they're trying to respond to that by being intentional about saying, hey, let's bring in some qualified black people to augment the qualified white men as well. So no one wants an unqualified firefighter. You know what I mean? No one wants an unqualified surgeon. Mm-hmm. But if you keep not hiring qualified black people, we got to do something about it.
Okay, yeah. Let me bring Jillian in because
about that, bro. Hey, he just caught you, Pierce. Pierce, you was kind of being racist, though. You know what I'm saying? Pierce, you was, bro. Like, at least it sound like that. Because Pierce is saying, like, no, like the DEI, like it is a problem, whatever. I want the most qualified. How you know the black person not qualified? How you know the woman's not qualified? How you know the LG person ain't qualified? Like, how you know? You just assuming because DEI is in place that they're not qualified? Somebody said Pierce is eating. Where's the evidence of these so-called qualifications? Peter, hold on. Come on, said, of course, no way was he racist. Somebody said, I pretend to be with the LG community when things don't go my way and blame it on that.
I mean, no one wants an unqualified surgeon. But if you keep not hiring qualified black people, we got to do something about it.
Okay, yeah. Let me bring Jillian in because obviously the LA.
Let's go back to the way, Pierce, because I want to give you a chance, bro, because it did sound like you was being kind of weird, bro.
Complaints themselves were about a systemic failure to hire qualified black people, to hire qualified women. So again, when you talk about DEI, it's not about getting unqualified black and brown and women in a room of qualified white men. It's about saying there's 10 qualified people in this room. The first 6 we've hired have been white men. Maybe the next 4 shouldn't be when demographically there's enough black people here or enough women or whomever.
Yeah, but hang on, but that's exactly the point, which is when it comes to firefighting, actually, no. Sorry, I just want the best people for the job. Sorry.
How you know that the black people or the LG people are not like the best people for the job? Pierce, bro. Pierce, man.
If I'm a homeowner in LA, I don't care what color they are, what sexuality they are.
Coach V said if they are hired the most qualified, that's what's the purpose of DEI. So, and then Cedric said it all about how you assess the qualification. How will you know the abilities when you see them? Exactly. Like, bro, this is why, like, I don't like that on job applications, you got to put your race. Because when they scrolling through them applications and they see black, You don't think they just gonna scroll by that real quick? They don't care what your qualifications is, how many years of school you. Black. I don't want to deal with that attitude. Yeah, I'm just saying that can happen. Look at even Donald Trump. I voted for Trump, right? Because I just couldn't do the Democrats no more. I couldn't, right? Look at Trump's first, like, his cabinet picks. And I rock with Trump. White, Indian, white. You see what I'm saying? The only one was like Vivek that had like a little bit of color to him. Everything else is like white. And this is me being 100% keeping it real. So it's like, you mean to tell me ain't no black people qualified for none of that? Candace Owens ain't qualified for none of this? Like, what's going on, dog? This is me being 100% with y'all. That be happening, bruh. So how you know somebody ain't qualified?
They are, what gender they are.
May I ask you a question about that, Piers?
Hang on, Mark. I don't care about any of it. I just care, are they the best available people to save me from a fire? End.
You're misrepresenting the issue, though. No one is saying that the best qualified people shouldn't be hired. The issue is, again, there are 10 people in a room.
Yeah.
They're going to hire 8 of them. The first 6 they've hired have been white men.
Yeah.
Of the remaining people, there are qualified white men and qualified black men and qualified black women. The issue historically in that department has been, even when the women have been qualified, even when the black men have been qualified, they still have not gotten hired. It's not that black people have gotten not hired and they're unqualified. It's they've been qualified and not hired. And so they're trying to respond to that by being intentional about saying, hey, let's bring in some qualified black people to augment the qualified white men as well. So no one wants an unqualified firefighter. You know what I mean? No one wants an unqualified surgeon. But if you keep not hiring qualified black people, we got to do something about it.
Okay, let me bring Gillian in because obviously the LA mayor, Karen Bass, is a black woman. I've got to say, of all the people in officialdom that I've seen since this disaster started, she seems to...
Let me show y'all this. Let me show you Trump, right? Trump's cabinet picks. See full list of Trump cabinet picks and major White House appointees. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. All right. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent. Looks white to me. Defense Secretary Pete looks a little white. Attorney General Pam Bondi. Remember I said blonde hair? Remember I said that? What did Trump pick? Right? Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum. He either Italian or white, one of them, right? And then you got Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins. What is she? All right. And then you got Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. What is he? You know what I'm saying? And then the Secretary of Lori Chavez. She might be a little Mexican or something like that. Shout to Trump. And then Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy. All right, another white man. Got some color in there. Scott Turner, Doug Life. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, white. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, white. Education Secretary Linda McMahon, white. Blonde hair, blue eyes, right? Secretary of Veteran Affairs Doug Collins, white. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. She look kind of Latin. She look a little Latin. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. Blonde hair, blue eyes, right? Blonde and gray hair, blue eyes. And then FBI Director Kash Patel, right? So he's like an anti-affirmative action, anti-DEI, anti-like anything to help minorities, and he's sitting in a position. But he like anti-minority everything when he be tweeting, right? And then you got John Ratcliffe, right? CEI Director. I don't know what he is. White or Italian, one of them. And then that's the girl right there, Tulsi Gabbard. What's Samoan? She looked like she's Samoan. So he got a little bit of diversity in his cabinet. Let's say border czar Tom Homan, white. Yeah, we already talked about Vivek. Yeah, it's a bunch of white people, man. But he got a little bit of. I think he likes Latin people because he got a lot of Latin people like in his cabinet. So, but like one black person I've seen so far, administrator of the small business, Administrator Kelly Loeffler, blonde hair, blue eyes. She gonna get that job before anybody, right? Another Latin person, white person, white person, white person. So, you know, it's what it is.
To me, to be the most woefully incompetent. One, when it started, there had already been warnings that there may be a big fire issue coming. And she gets on a plane and she goes all the way to Africa to the inauguration of the new president of Ghana. Now, this is someone who the New York Times has established 2 years ago, actually said on the record while campaigning to be mayor, not only would I, of course, live here, but I wouldn't travel internationally. The only places I would go would be DC, Sacramento, San Francisco, and New York in relation to Los Angeles. And yet there she is at the inauguration of an African president while her city's burning. And when
subscribe to the channel. And then another thing, bro. We need DEI with like content creators. No, bro. Because look, I did like 7.1 million views in like 1 month, right? Is when I first started like doing like all of this politics and all that. Bro, tell me why I got 7.1 million views, right? And then I got like only like 30,000 subscribers. I watched a few other content creators, Caucasian descent, right? Didn't do half the numbers. Didn't talk about half the thing. Didn't show you really anything. Talk about nothing. I seen somebody get 100,000 subscribers in a month. I don't know. Like, yeah. Maybe we need DI with content creators.
She came back. She was jumped by a very good journalist from Sky News here in the UK, David Blevins, and the response was pathetic. Let's take a look.
Madam Mayor, David Blevins from Sky News in the UK.
And then your boy Roy Boy said that dude keeps an eye on what to do in the front of him and the side of him at the same time. Somebody said she's an Indian. You talking about Tulsi Gabbard? I think she's like Samoan or something. I don't know. DJ Fusion T said black conservative perspective is one of the biggest concern. Yeah, but he's like anti-black everything. Like he's a black, like the conservative perspective, right? He is anti-black everything. He is a mouthpiece for the ultra-right. That's what he is. And that's why they're subscribing to him, because he grifts to the right. Like the extreme right. Anything that would support or help black people any way, he is against it. And we've reacted to some of his videos. He's against his own people so he can get more subscribers. That's why nobody who is colored like rocks with him. You know what I mean? And he don't care. Like he's like that. Officer Tatum is like that. Like anything supporting African Americans, they are against. Like completely. At least Candace Owens is just like, hey, black people, we need to like get better educated to get some of these positions and to do. At least she's doing that. These people are just anti anything black. You know what I mean? And so the white people that are sharing all of their stuff can, you know, help them grow. See, he thinks like us. That's what it is. Like he's a grifter. Officer Tatum is a grifter. The Hodge twins are grifters. They do not like anything black related. They are against. You know, I don't want to be like that. Like I'm a conservative, but I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? If somebody comes with logic, it's fine. I'm not going to push DI on anybody, but, you know, I can look at both sides of the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that?
Me, okay?
Have you no response to that?
Do I think she's qualified? I mean, from what it looks like, It don't look like she knows what she doing. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what her education level. Maybe she just like shocked that this is going down right now. You know what I mean? And maybe like what people are not even thinking about with her is like maybe the governor like probably hit her up like, yo, cut the budget for this and that and this. California, we're going through a budget crisis. Go ahead, cut that budget. And she listened to Gavin Newsom, and then now they're in this situation, right? And she can't just like be like, Gavin Newsom told me to cut the budget. You see what I'm saying? She can't say that. She got to just like be the person to take the fall for it. It's politics. It's the pecking order. I'm not saying that he did. Like he's the one that made her cut the fire department the budget or cut the budget to clean up the brush. I'm not saying that he did it, but if he did give her the order to do it and she did it, now she's in this situation. It's like, what can you say? Because this is politics, right? You just got to take the heat. There's things that people don't think, but then they can, and then Gavin Newsom can smile and everybody will look at her and see like, see, she not qualified. See, she shouldn't have did this. See, DEI, see, affirmative action. You see what I'm saying? And then she takes the hit for everything.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning?
Exactly. Hey, Jeff Sprayberry just said, I wouldn't be surprised if Newsom threw her under the bus like that. I would agree. See what I'm saying? We don't know. We not in, bro, we see everything on the outside. Look at, they on the inside working. We not getting them phone calls. Bro, you don't think if she's cutting $100 million, $200-300 million out of a budget, you don't think Gavin Newsom know about it? This is his state, dog. He got to know what's going on. That way stuff like this doesn't happen. He probably was looking for a way to cut the money and used her to do it. That's what I think could have happened. I'm not saying it happened. I said I think it could have happened. And she can't say nothing. What are you going to say? You can be removed. The governor can remove you from being the mayor. You lose your lifetime benefits and all of that. What are you going to do? You're going to take the hit. Let media trash you for about a month. Stay off the internet. Deal with these interviews. Let Gavin Newsom come in and save the day. All right?
Cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor. Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, Bob?
And she ignoring them, but she could be just thinking like, yo, I cannot believe Gavin Newsom told me to do this. Now they all owe me, help me. She could be thinking that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she could end up saying, like, what if she was like, all right, so the lady that's in control of like the fire department, right? She came out and said she don't believe this is being handled correctly. The mayor just fired her a couple days ago because she did an interview talking about this isn't being handled correctly. She was talking about like, you know, the budget being cut and talking too much. And so the mayor removed her and fired her. What you think Gavin Newsom gonna do to her if she say, oh, well, Gavin Newsom told me to do this? At the end of the day, Gavin Newsom wants to be like elected again. He's not gonna have her talking down to him. You gotta go. He'll put some LG person in there or whoever. That's what people don't like think.
Sorry, Gillian, that was just so pathetic, wasn't it? I mean, she's the mayor of Los Angeles. Say something.
It's absolutely outrageous. And again, I can't speak to the DEI component because I don't really know the history of who they did or didn't hire. I'm currently under the impression that the fire chief wanted more bodies no matter what.
Yo, hit the like button. We only got like 48,000 views. Hit the like button. Stop playing, man. I see one person hitting the hearts. Defusion said didn't get removed. Christian Medwood said Taylor not true. She left to go to Africa on Saturday. Fire started on Tuesday. And Natalie Garman said incompetence at its best. John Saxon said there is no place for DEI in positions of public safety. Interesting. She not a victim here. They both actually, anyone involved is to blame. Why the F is race a factor? TH said, Charlene saying race relations improved recently over the years. Not really, when you have Hollywood bringing race back up in a lot of movies and TV. Yeah, y'all got to understand like how race is. They're never going to like stop like race baiting. That's literally never going to stop ever. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood is going to cause a divide. They're going to use celebrities to cause a divide. Politicians are going to cause a divide. They're always going to do. That's how they keep things in order. You know what I'm saying? So that's never going to change. And then you're going to get a situation of Hollywood going to end up doing old movies and say, oh, we didn't have to hire black people because this happened. The movie was filmed in the 20s. You know, they're going to start doing that again.
What color, what gender, or what sexual orientation. And if I'm wrong about that, please educate me. With that said, Karen Bass is incompetent. I don't care if it's because she's a woman of color. She's just flat out incompetent. When your fire chief writes you a letter in December of 2024, after all of northern Malibu has just burned down again and says, do not cut my budget, it will be a catastrophe. You don't cut the budget. I'm absolutely outraged and disgusted. It is gross negligence, period. And then you have nothing to say when you're questioned about it. What are you doing in Ghana? You are a local, you're a mayor. You are not an ambassador.
That's
you
ridiculous.
don't work for the federal government.
And then Turbo Tony said an African Eric was a wild card in Olympics, forced to swim, but he couldn't swim. DEI make no sense. Y'all is bugging.
What's going on?
Yeah,
I mean, we could point to so many.
Jeff said DEI has nothing to do with not having any water. That is not budgeting your budget.
Of these things, it's just outrageous.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think she's been completely incompetent and exposed as incompetent. In fact, all her public utterances make me cringe. Let me bring Michael back in here.
Completely.
I mean, I want to play a clip, Michael. This is from the fire department chief, Kristen Crowley, who, as things stand, to me, sounds the most credible of all of them when she speaks. Let's take a listen.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say, justifiably, what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
She shouldn't have said that. She got fired. Hey, this is politics, lady. You cannot, like, that reporter just got her fired. She got herself fired, but the reporter got her fired. She should have said, next question. Right? If somebody puts you in a position of power and you making mad bread, right? And you know the pecking order, you know, like the you know what I mean? The budget's been cut, yeah, so you constrain, but it's politics. You know, everything's going to fall on your head, right? So when a reporter asks you something, you say, next question. You never let a reporter pin you into a situation that can get you fired. And I know after she left that interview, she was probably thinking when she got back to her office, like, I shouldn't have said that. They're going to hear this. And she got called into that office and the mayor fired her. That got her fired.
I mean, she couldn't be.
Peter McGinn said, so lie? Yes. You lie to keep your job. Like, what you gonna do? Like, tell the truth and get fired? She fired. She getting unemployment now. What you gonna do? Like, everybody, like, already know what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna say lie, but think very hard about what you're gonna say. And she got fired. She just got fired.
Be clearer there, and I believe her. You know, I mean, no one has actually refuted what she said, and she hasn't been fired. So, Michael, I'm doing the maths with my old journalism hat on, and it's coming up pretty well for her and pretty badly for the elected officials.
That's absolutely right. I think she's been amazing during this crisis. I think that she's been honest with the residents of LA. I think that we really trust our fire chief here after all of the appearances.
Okay, all right. So the mayor denies report she fired the fire department chief.
He's made. And as it relates to the debate about DEI, I agree with you, Piers. I don't care what color she is, what gender she is. The fact that she's a woman doesn't matter to me. She's doing an incredible job.
Right.
And the fact that she's being called a DEI hire is actually pretty frustrating, and the fact that that's what some people in the media are using to spin it, because she was in the fire department for 22 years. She's incredibly qualified. She's clearly really good at PR, and I think she's really good at her job. So
I don't think she's a DEI hire. I've got to say.
So I want to say that I guess the lady has not been fired. See, Twitter be lying. Twitter be lying. Twitter probably does need to be removed. They be lying too much. And battle LA Mayor Karen Bass's cringeworthy response to fire chief's open criticism. I don't know if we can play that. It says, Bass, who has come under intense criticism for her handling of the crisis, said at a Saturday press conference that she and Crowley are lockstep in their efforts. We are lockstep in our number one mission, and that mission is to get us past this emergency right now, she said. We want to make sure that we save lives, we save housing, we save businesses, and if there are differences that we have, we will continue to deal with those in private. As Bass stepped away from the podium, a reporter asked if reports that she had fired Crowley were true, to which she responded no and laughed. It came after Crowley blasted the city's mayor for failing fire crews in communities devastated by the ongoing wildfires. Crowley took aim at the city's leadership during the interview with KTTV on Friday, admitting it had failed those affected by the fires and prevented the LA Fire Department from effectively doing its job. We are screaming to be properly funded to make sure that the firefighters can do their job so that we can serve the community, Crowley said, adding that there were huge gaps in firefighters' ability to tackle the blazes that are on the ground. He said, meanwhile, fire's still burning out of control. Yeah. And then Gary Order said they cannot fire her due to DEI. Oh, okay. Interesting. And then Melissa said, Mayor Chief Crowley's been in the fire department and served every role. I think she just thought that they were going to have her back. Yeah, but they're not going to do that.
Karen Bass.
People are saying that.
Karen Bass, though, is a different matter. She smacks to me of a DEI appointment in the sense
ridiculous.
Of how the hell did someone like that?
She was democratically elected.
Fine,
Piers,
I know.
How does a democratically elected?
I know.
How was a democratically elected mayor a DEI hire?
Let me tell you how that happens in Los Angeles. Because until this fire, actually, and this may change everything for the political dynamic of Los Angeles. If you live in LA, as much as I have.
And then Slave said a week before the fires, internal leak memo that was sent to the fire department asked for another $49 million in fire department cuts, amounting to 16 fire stations in LA closing permanently. Wow. And then your boy said you can't cover for incompetence. People are dead, and it's the most vulnerable among us. Elderly, handicapped, people who couldn't evacuate for themselves. Exactly. That's crazy.
Over the last 20 years, you are living in woke central. You're living in a place where a large number of the electorate literally would vote for people because of their skin color and because of their gender. We've already, just from that thing I read out, established she's an absolute liar when it comes to what she promised in her campaigning and what she then did as mayor in terms of getting on the first plane that came along to Ghana when she said she wouldn't leave America. So to me...
Mr. Harris said you reap what you sow. And then Slave said Cuban connections. Peter McGough said the same way it happened for Kamala. John Saxon said that's DEI.
The DEI thing runs endemically through some of these places. LA has become a woke...
What makes a DEI... That
I'm
is
telling
racist.
you.
I'm going to be very clear. That
You're
is
not understanding
racist.
Let me be very clear to you first. What I'm saying is there are large numbers.
You're calling someone who is democratically elected a DEI hire.
Let me finish. I'm telling you what I mean by that. She won as a democratically elected person. That is true. She's the mayor. However,
all right, I'm looking at another. It said it's a rumor that she was fired. She was never fired. So that's good that she was able to say that and not be fired. I think they're going to find another reason to fire her later. They're not going to do it right now. It's too hot. You know what I'm saying? Let things cool off for a minute and find another reason to fire her. You want to talk crazy about me? I'm the mayor. I'm getting you out of here.
I think a lot of people voted for her because she was a black woman, not because she's any good at her job. That's an LA.
How do you know that, though, Piers? Mark Lamont, don't let Piers Morgan get away with this, bro.
Do you have any evidence of that?
Yeah. Look how incompetent she is.
What? You don't even, bro, Mark Lamont, get him, bro. Like, don't let Piers Morgan do it. Amala ain't gonna say nothing. She a grifter. She is for people who are against black people. Amala, she ain't gonna say nothing. Mark Lamont's the one that got to speak up. Piers Morgan out of control, right? She ain't gonna say nothing either, right? He definitely ain't about to say nothing. Mark Lamont, do not let Piers Morgan get away with that. Piers is wilding right now, bro.
How many black people have been mayor of LA? You say it's been decades of wokeness and skin color voting. How many black mayors have there been in the history of LA?
And worse and worse.
How many black mayors have there been in the history of LA, Piers?
I'm telling you, in her case, I believe she is woefully incompetent, should never have got the job, and people voted for her.
That's how I would have handled Piers Morgan right now. Like, how do you know? How do you know what got her? Like, how do you know that she wasn't qualified? Do you know any of her qualifications? No, you don't know her qualifications. What do you think about maybe Gavin Newsom probably could have told her to cut the budget? Have you ever thought about that? What if he did tell her to cut the budget and she listened to him and cut the budget because that was her chain of command, and she goes ahead and she cut the budget? If she didn't cut the budget, she would be removed from office. So so if he did tell her to cut the budget, like, does that mean she's unqualified to do the job and that falls under DEI? Or do you feel like Gavin Newsom would be unqualified to do his job? Like, I will be saying all kind of stuff to him, bro. You ain't about to just get away with that, Piers Morgan. Like, we're not doing that, bro.
Because in their head, all they're getting told all day long in places like Los Angeles is DEI, DEI, DEI. That's all they hear about.
What qualification was she lacking to be mayor?
Have you watched her pronouncements? Have you watched her pronouncements?
I've watched her for 12 years in Congress. I've watched her advance legislation.
She's utterly useless.
Oh, get him, Mark Lamont! Don't let him talk crazy! Get him!
Experience prior to joining the U.S. Congress and being a standing member of Congress. She's qualified. You may not like.
No, I think she's incompetent. It's worse than that. I don't care if I like her or not.
Her political credentials are pretty strong. I think that her reaction to this crisis has been really bad, and this is the first time a lot of the world is seeing Karen Bass, unfortunately, and it's not good for her.
I agree.
But she was democratically elected.
That doesn't make her a DEI hire.
No, I'm talking about a culture.
No, let Amala talk. Let Amala say something. Amala, you bet not grift. You bet not grift, girl.
Sure.
What I'm talking about, and Michael, I'll put this to you. It just seems to me, I have noticed in LA, it's been getting woker and woker and woker and woker. Right from the top of the political sphere right the way down. It's tangible. You feel it. You have a lot of people there that buy into this woke crap. Right? And I just think that it's been insidious to every society where this has happened, anywhere in the world. But LA is like the epicenter of this crap. And I think it's come back to haunt them.
I'll get to that in a second. When it comes to the election of the mayor, we had a decision between Karen Bass and Rick Caruso, who's a billionaire real estate developer. I think that the people of LA...
Joanna Man said, I'm trying to California has the largest GDP out of every single state in the United States, making over $200 billion in revenue, and yet they were incapable of providing enough firefighters. Melissa Taylor said, I'm talking about Chief Crowley. I'm not talking about Miss Bass. Miss Bass may not be incompetent, but she purposely cut the budget. Slave Catcher Bounty said they're twin girls and we're about 22 we last heard. And then Gary Order said Morgan is right. DEI is a staple in LA. Slave said, and we are basically living in a medical college for studying. Ron Kirkland said, fire her. And then Baguba88 said, "You people can't even run a house, let alone a city." What? Peter, y'all is crazy. Peter said, "If she can't be honest, she's unqualified in my opinion. I agree. She likely has to kneel to the governor." It's the position that you take. Gavin Newsom can make you do anything he wants you to do. And then Brian really said, "California has a high GDP because of the location. Take away the ports and the GDP is slashed." Yeah.
Made a decision that they wanted a career politician who, sure, is a black woman, but I don't think that's why she got the votes. I think she got the votes because she seemed like the more qualified, well-credentialed candidate compared to a billionaire who's felt very out of touch with the typical working class person in Los Angeles. I think that's why Karen Bass won the election. When it comes to the culture of DEI in Los Angeles, I think a lot of people love to paint Los Angeles the way that they see it. They love to paint the culture of California in a certain way. I don't feel like I'm living in a DEI city. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel that way. I think that diversity is important to people in Los Angeles. It's one of the most diverse cities in the entire world, and we are proud of that. But that doesn't mean
nothing wrong with being proud of diversity.
Because of the color of
Listen, I'm as proud of diversity as you are, and Mark is, everybody else is. Nothing wrong with being proud of diversity.
I don't think you are.
No, well, actually, I am.
Yo, I'm let Kay say nothing because she knows she don't want to lose her audience she grifts to. So she's just gonna stay out of this because she know Mark Lamont is right, but she don't want to acknowledge that because she don't want to lose her audience. I think that's what it is.
But what I believe in,
I disagree.
What I believe in everything is that meritocracy should trump mediocrity and should trump woke box ticking. That's what I believe. I believe that.
But you're arguing that somehow she didn't have merit.
I'm arguing that
she was more qualified than her opponent.
I'm arguing
a black person can do a bad job, and that's fine. Criticize them for doing a bad. Gavin Newsom's doing a bad job, but no one is addressing his race. He just did a bad job. Karen Bass is doing a bad job. You say, then criticize her for that. But every time a black person does a bad job, if you call them a DEI hire, that becomes nothing more than a dog whistle and a racist slur.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about everybody.
She was hired because she was qualified.
She was elected because she was qualified and because the voters wanted her.
But she was elected. You're missing my point.
Talk to him. I'm rocking with him, bro. Y'all ain't about to do that, bro. Shout out to Mark Lamont, bro. Thug life.
You're missing my point. It's not because
I'm not missing your point. I'm disagreeing with your point.
That's fine. And you're perfectly entitled to disagree with it. But don't start talking about dog whistles because it's entirely down to her.
It's a dog whistle.
No, it's entirely down to her incompetence. And I'm telling you, there are lots of people in LA, when confronted with a billionaire candidate or her, we're going to vote for her because of the color of her skin or her gender. I'm telling you, that's what LA's like.
Or because he's a billionaire and we don't.
Yeah, that's my point. That all around the country, people vote for Donald Trump and other people because they're white men. Identity politics plays.
And you would be the first to say that's wrong.
The point here is not that.
You would be the first.
Whenever a black person gets criticized, calling them a DEI hire is questioning their competence, not their performance, but their fundamental qualification for the job. She was qualified for the job. She just hasn't done a good job. That's fine, but that doesn't make her a DEI hire. Ben Carson was wholly unqualified to be the head of HUD, right? But no one called him a DEI hire. Why? Because he was on the right. Whether you think he did a good job or bad job, he wasn't qualified. But every time he makes a mistake, I wouldn't call him a DEI hire, even though he had no qualification. He's far less qualified for that job than Karen Bass was to be mayor of LA. You have to understand here that DEI hire is itself a dog whistle when it's weaponized against black and brown people and women and trans folk and queer folk. Whenever you don't like the job they do, it says they're unqualified.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, but you also have to recognize that this relentless woke bullshit has actually turned large numbers of people into people I just don't even recognize as having a brain, where they literally.
So what are you trying to say? Like DEI people don't have brains, Piers Morgan? Because some people look different than you, or they may have a different sexuality as you. You feel like they don't have a brain. This is what he says, bro. I'm not LG, all of that. But there are some smart people in positions that may be that. You know what I'm saying? Bro, Pierce is bugging right now, bro. I be rocking with Pierce sometimes, but sometimes he be bugged out, bro. Pierce, you be bugging, bro.
buy into all this stuff. They walk around and their first thought is diversity, equity, inclusion should actually be a priority over any meritocracy. They genuinely believe that.
That's not what anyone has ever argued.
At that point, society starts to fragment.
Piers, that's not true. What I'm saying is,
it's true.
DEI initiatives begin from the premise that people who are qualified are being left and locked out of the room.
I know the premise.
When we advocate for people,
I know the premise, Mark.
No, but that's not.
Yeah, but hang on.
I understand
the
you.
Premise
You say
of being
the
woke.
premise, but what you just did to the.
You're missing the point. The premise
what you
of
just
being
did to the audience was make it seem as if they weren't operating from that assumption.
The premise of being woke, right, was originally that you would raise awareness for social and racial injustice. I agree with that. By that criteria, I'm woke. That is not what woke became. Woke became a form of censorious.
Hold on. Let me get to the comments to see what y'all are saying. Gary Order said the fact that you can argue it makes it true. Make it make sense says I'm exhausted with the racism. Fair Chase Outdoors said DEI hires should not be a dang thing. Shane Petit said, wow, dude didn't know you were woke. Nathan Abner said they won't. That's a fact. Nez said, shut the woke crap down. Fair Chase Outdoors said, man, you going straight victim mode. Fish Guru said, yes, DEI is brainless. Shane said, he's not saying that. Fair Chase said, he didn't even say that. Slave said, I haven't heard a racist thing in weeks. It's pissing me off. I have to create it sometimes to get a good laugh, but I'm an equal opportunity hunter, any race, anytime. Gary said, if DEI did not exist, then this could not be argued. Shadi said, yeah, he's not listening. Elizabeth said, howdy from Texas. Yeah, somebody said, the black man, the new women, no accountability. RJ said, you woke, bro? No, I'm just, hey, just whatever. Nick said, no, what he's saying is other candidates that had more qualification factors were overlooked to put the person in place. Slave said, I sometimes get bored scrolling and ask black guys how long they have been black for. Like, what? Fair Chase said, Gary Order preaching facts. Jay Williams said, when you get a job for anything other than your skill set, that's wrong. DEI hiring has created too many messes. Cannon said the issues with DEI is put merit on someone's superficial traits. It supersedes merit and qualification for sexuality or skin color. Interesting. And then Kenny A said that do not deserve S. Forget DEI. And then Gary said, if I can be attacked, then it's weak. Fair Chase said, you need to be more open-minded, boss.
Virtue signaling fascism. And what we're seeing now is the very rapid, actually, disintegration of wokeism because people have woken up to it. And what I hope is that people like the people of Los Angeles who've seen their city getting ravaged by this crap, wake up, smell the cappuccino, and vote according to reality and not to what they think they should be doing based on things like...
Forget about climate change. Forget about unchecked capitalism.
No. All those things are important.
Because they'll burn your city
Let me bring
down.
in Gillian, who's been shaking her head. Gillian?
Well, here's the reason I think in particular people are targeting this issue. There are two quantifiable moments that are pretty outrageous. So the first one is, I believe it was Kristen Larson who said, hey, you're worried about me pulling your husband out of a fire. Well, then he got himself in the wrong place. She should have been swiftly fired for that statement.
Yeah.
Regardless of her color or her gender.
Yeah.
That was an outrageous thing to say. I don't care if she was a white man. If a white man said something like, well, your wife got herself into the wrong place, we would all be outraged. She should have been fired. And now we have to ask ourselves why she wasn't fired. And then the next thing is the lady, I think her name is Janice Quinones.
I think she was not fired because Gavin Newsom probably told her to do it. That's why I think she wasn't fired. Like anybody else would have been fired, or the governor would have said something negative about a mayor who done something like that. There's no way like over $100 million is cut from the budget and the governor knows nothing about it. He probably didn't say anything because he told her to do it. And I stress probably. I'm not saying it's true.
Who was in charge of making sure that reservoir in the Palisades was full, was caught in an interview saying that her top priority was DEI.
Yeah.
Legitimately verbatim a quote. And I think that is exactly what Piers is talking about. I can't speak to Karen Bass or how qualified she was or she wasn't, because I'm no longer a California resident, so I didn't vote for her. I didn't do my homework on her. And I do agree that regardless of DEI, she's doing a crap job, and regardless of Republican or Democrat, Newsom.
Yo, why is that? If anybody knows me, why is everybody like tagging me in this Cameron, Jim Jones, and 50 Cent feud? I've never like covered any of that. Like, it's like I'm talking about like major publications and stuff like that. Like, you're talking to me about that. Like, I never like covered that. Like, shout out to all of them. Like, I do cover hip hop from time to time, but I've never like covered them. I don't know why they're like tagging me and all this stuff.
Sucks. He is the worst, and he has been the worst forever since 2018 when he got the job in 2019, and how he's run the state since then. He sucks. But there are two very clear examples of what.
Mark Lamont Thug Life. She basically saying like Gavin Newsom don't know what he's doing. He sucks. She don't understand why he's been running California like that. And Mark Lamont was like a white man, right? Right? Yeah. So he ain't qualified to do with it. Thug Life. I love it. Talk crazy, Mark Lamont. Don't let them just sit down and run us down like that. That's what's up. I'm like gonna say nothing. Because she don't want to lose her, like, grifter. You know what I'm saying? She don't want to lose that audience. Mark Lamont, that's right, dog! Get her!
Piers is speaking about.
Yeah. Marla, I want to play a clip of Gavin Newsom, who keeps smirking. I just don't understand why he keeps smirking. Let's take a look.
We're in this emergency environment and everything else. So I just want to determine the facts, but no one has any patience anymore. In this weaponized, back to the grievance of Trump, everyone else, there's immediacy, and lies travel the proverbial world, and it's hard to get the facts out there unless you have the backing of those facts, and you can communicate them soberly. And so that's what we're trying to achieve as relates to this. But I have 10 other things we're doing concurrently as well. I mean, across the board on recovery, on disaster assistance, getting the major disaster declaration. It may be the first one in U.S. history over a text with the White House within literally 36 hours.
And every appearance he's made, Amala, he can't stop this little supercilious smug smirk. So what are you being smug about?
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure what's actually going on there, and I have seen.
So Gavin Newsom ran against Brian Daly in 2022. Yeah. And Gavin Newsom won the popular vote by almost like 2 million votes. So he lost to a Republican. The Republican lost to Gavin Newsom. Interesting.
Him smirking in other interviews where he's talking about reimagining LA and the plan that he already has for the city. So we'll see what that actually looks like. And quickly, to the point of DEI, for Mark and Michael, we don't have to call them DEI hires. They call themselves DEI hires. When we got this fire chief rolled out, she wasn't rolled out as a woman with 22 years experience as a firefighter and an engineer. She was rolled out as a woman who's lesbian. The very same for the assistant fire chief who says she won't pull a man out of a fire. The very same for Quinones, who Jillian was just speaking about.
There she go grifting against DEI. That's what she's doing.
We don't have to call them diversity, equity, and inclusion hires. They will do that themselves.
Yeah, and I think a model.
Listen, Democles said, "You people need to start recognizing evil." You people.
The point I was trying to make to Mark, where I'm not quite sure he grasped what I was getting at, is that large swathes of the electorate in LA, I think, have been contaminated by this woke virus. And they start to think that DEI has to be the be-all and end-all of everything. And they start to vote accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are seeing a culture that's been created in this city where we're pushing forward these initiatives. If I took 1,000 California residents and I showed them a photo of a white man and a black woman with giving them no qualifications, no idea about their education, and no idea about the job that they'd be going into, they would pick the black woman. Let's be honest about where the culture has been set in this city and look around to see that the city is also on fire.
Okay, let me bring Michael.
Can I just say one?
Yeah.
It just might be worth knowing that for the last 3 decades, there have literally been hundreds of scientific studies that have done the very thing you're talking about, usually through resumes. And what the evidence shows, what the scientific data from conservatives, Republicans, black, white, independent, political, apolitical, whatever.
We know Mark Lamont. You don't even got to say that. Amala is a grifter. She's just trying to like capture that white audience. She don't care about black people at all.
Have all said the exact opposite of what you said. There has literally not been one empirical study in which the person has chosen a black person over a white person systematically. Also, when the names are blocked and
you don't think a single person, hang on, you don't think a single person in Los Angeles has ever voted for somebody based on skin color? Are you being funny?
That is a Beacom yoga stretch. There's nothing of what I just said is what you just said.
Yeah, you did.
I just said, I was talking about employer hiring, and you just flipped it and made it seem as if I said no one in LA has ever voted on the basis of race. Everybody votes on the basis of race. Well, not literally everybody. Every country, every state,
so you
every
agree
city
with
has
me then?
People who vote on the basis of race. I guarantee you, old white men in Mississippi voted on the basis of race, and I don't think they voted for Kamala. Black men in New York or black women in New York voted for president on the basis of race, and they didn't vote for Trump. People vote on the basis of race all the time.
So you say, okay.
That is not my point.
Okay.
The point is that
So you accept that Karen Bass could have got a lot of votes based on her skin color? So you accept my premise that Karen Bass in Los Angeles could have got a lot of votes from people based on her skin color because they bought into the whole DEI argument?
No, that's not what I just said.
It is.
I said that everybody does it. The difference is
so you
only seem to think that black people... No, let me finish the sentence. Let me finish the sentence so we're clear. You seem to only think that black people voting on the basis of race or brown people voting on the basis of race counts. I'm saying
I
black,
said she
white,
got
red, yellow,
her job,
Democrat,
in my
Republican,
opinion.
They all...
No. I'm saying
you have no evidence for your opinion.
You just said everybody votes according to race, which is also bullshit, by the way. They don't all vote according to race.
When Piers Morgan starts losing the argument, he throws a bad word out. Have y'all noticed that? As much as we've been watching Piers Morgan, he does that a lot. As soon as somebody corners him in an argument, he throws like the BS word out.
You've actually, without realizing
literally everybody, but Mark,
without realizing it, you've confirmed my thesis, right? Because you've basically agreed that there are large numbers of people in Los Angeles who probably voted for Karen Bass because of her skin color. And now she's turned out to be useless.
I want you to hear.
Turbo Tony said the black man contradicted himself. Tony, what is you talking about, bruh?
I want you to try to.
Mark Lamont is winning this argument.
To hear what I'm saying. First, I want you to allow for the possibility that
Gary Orta said DEI exists and influences by what percent that the argument, not that they don't please argue.
I could completely comprehend what you're saying and just disagree. And second, I want you to allow for the possibility that
I'll allow for that possibility.
That you may see this differently. Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Your premise is Karen Bass was elected partially, at least, because the people who voted for her on the basis of race. And you're saying that I have affirmed that thesis through my statement. What I am saying as my rejoinder is, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is both candidates and all candidates get votes on the basis of race. A billionaire white man also gets votes on the basis of race. And I am not suggesting, and contrary to what you just suggested, that the number of votes for her by virtue of race are any more than the votes for him by virtue of race. I never said that, and I don't believe that. So at least, even if you disagree with me, you can at least acknowledge on national television that I did not affirm your thesis. If you comprehend, I didn't affirm your thesis.
I think we're edging towards a greater comprehension of each other's positions, because the point I'm making is that I
always comprehend it.
Okay, but the point I'm making is that DEI has become such a massive thing in somewhere like LA that inevitably it's spilled over to the electorate when they vote for elected officials. And I think that's what happened with Karen Bass, who has now exposed herself to the world as being utterly useless. That's my point. Let me bring Michael back in. On Gavin Newsom, look, he's a slick operator, no question. He's the kind of guy that if you were building a politician, he'd look and sound like Gavin Newsom, or Barack Obama. They look the part, they sound the part, they're articulate, whatever. I think he's getting found out here. I think there's a supercilious smuggery about him And particularly when he was asked about Trump going after him about reservoirs, and he started saying, there's nothing wrong with any of the reservoirs. And they said, well, literally one of the biggest reservoirs, the biggest near Pacific Palisades, was not working. Let's take a look at that.
The reservoirs are completely full. The state reservoirs here in Southern California, that mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir. That was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to as it relates to the Delta and somehow connecting the Delta smelt to this fire, which is inexcusable because it's inaccurate. Also,
yo, this dude is blaming the president. What is up with him?
So incomprehensible to anyone that understands water policy in the state.
No, he was squirming and tap dancing around there, Michael. But I mean, to me, he got called out.
Yeah, I think he did get called out there because one of the reservoirs was empty, and it shouldn't have been empty, and it was empty because it fixed to the cover that should have taken a week ended up taking more than a year and costing way too much. And this is an issue with, I think, the way that we spend money and the way that we manage projects in the state, and that needs to get fixed. But I'm glad that's the focus, because there's so many other things being brought into this conversation that I think are distractions. I think, the fact we're debating whether Karen Bass got elected because she's a black woman is frustrating. I think Gavin Newsom is reasonably frustrated about the smelt and the way that Donald Trump tried to blame the water.
No, Gavin Newsom's. I don't rock with him, bro. Let's hear what my girl got to say.
My next guest on the Rita Panahi Show every week for another year. He is one of the finest thinkers of his generation, the author of international bestsellers, including The Madness of Crowds, The Strange Death of Europe, and The War on the West. Douglas Murray, welcome back. We've got plenty to discuss. Let's start in the US. We're a week away from the second Trump term. What do you see as the greatest priority of the president-elect? He has quite a mess to clean up.
He does. I mean, I think the priorities are obviously going to be what he said on the campaign trail. The priorities had to be.
No, I don't want to. I think we listened to that one already.
Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and I think it's high time we checked in on the leader of the free world. Yes, him, POTUS, the man the media told you was cognitively sound and a decent and honest and competent commander-in-chief. You can now add dangerously delusional to President Joe Biden's long list of ailments.
I would have beaten Trump, could have beaten Trump, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump, would have beaten Trump.
Say what now? You could have beaten Trump? No amount of fortifying elections could have seen you beat Trump. And as we saw, Kamala didn't come close either. So why is the president saying that now? That's beyond me. Also beyond me is why he'd be uttering a sentence like this. Listen here as he speaks of California wildfire victims losing.
Yo, what's up with that? It's like some kind of weird
water shortage in California on this endangered species, which is not correct. I think that what we should be talking about is why wasn't the reservoir full? Thank you. That's hard to say. Why weren't we ready for this fire? And how do we hold our government officials accountable, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender? I don't care, right? How do we get better at this? And I think that is a question that we really ought to be talking more about. And I appreciate Jillian for bringing up at the beginning of this conversation the fact that we should be doing controlled burns, the fact that we should be doing brush clearance, the fact that we should be hardening our structures so that wildfires don't spread so quickly in this city, where wildfires are endemic and they are going to happen again.
But here's the point I'd make to you, Michael. Here's the point I'd make back, is that I don't think you can divorce the two things. I don't think you can divorce the politicking that's gone on in the election of certain officials.
What's going on?
And the incompetence we now see laid bare. You can't divorce that from that, because ultimately these decisions get taken by elected officials.
This is what I want to show y'all. Mel Gibson.
What's going on is Anton from...
Let me fast forward.
It looked, when I got there the other day, I went up there yesterday, it looked like Dresden, you know, after Bomber Harris got through with it. Yeah.
Mel,
so nothing left.
For those of us watching this from afar, try to convey to us the feeling of seeing your home, your neighbors' homes, and the community there at such a loss.
I mean, it's tragic. It makes you really sad. I was actually, you know, there are neighbors I have that I was actually looking at them. I felt worse for them than I did for myself. You know, I look at it as a strange mixture of sadness and almost kind of an elation in a sense that I count my blessings, you know, no matter what. These are things, and they may or may not be replaceable, but they're only things, and we're still here, and I just kind of look at it as almost, in a weird kind of way, a purification but of course it's very sad, and there were many things, you know, gone in the blaze.
This dude is so rich. He was just like, let's look at them, these things. Like, yeah, but there's memories to some people, bro.
That, you know, I've thought about since. I thought, oh, damn, you know, that's too bad.
Everybody is affected. Every single person that has a home in California, Los Angeles is affected. And the one thing that we keep trying to figure out is this intentional? Like, is this just somebody walking around with a blowtorch?
I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events
Hold on. Elizabeth said, I sub to Sky News Australia to get news that's not U.S. news, and also to try to hear about what's going on in the world. They are pretty good. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to look outside of your country to get news. I do that a lot. You know, that's why, like, they're one of my, like, sources to go to when I'm reacting to stuff. Because you don't, like, American propaganda, bro, like, it's so strong. And then you literally only have two forms of media. There's no real, like, middle media. You got left and right. It's what it is. Like, CBS is, like, left. All of these, like, left-wing, like, media sources and right-wing. It's nothing. Nobody's really going to tell you, like, what's up. You know what I mean? Unless you look outside of America, I feel like.
This, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether
he thinks they've been messing with the water, and he's putting out into the air, like, has this been done on purpose?
whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be? You know, I don't know. Do they want the state empty?
And finally, he addressed the elephant in the room and the thing that we've been saying, especially on the campaign trail all in 2024, even 2023, and what we on the right have been trying to bring to the forefront of the congregation, and that we have a lot of incompetent leadership in offices all across the United States of America.
One thinks that the resources, you know, and the capabilities of the men and women will be on standby, that they'll be able to cope with any situation that comes up. But apparently some people were asleep on the job, mainly our leaders there. But, you know, that's something they have to live with. And
yo, Elizabeth said, I'm trying not to laugh. So I just can't get over the fact that California, the state known for having wildfires every year, every other year, is surprised that they had a wildfire and didn't plan for it. Yeah, that's funny. I mean, the way you said it is funny, but I mean, you're right.
But that's something that community has to live with. It's really sad. I mean, I have many friends that are, you know, looking for a place to put a roof over their heads.
What Mel Gibson is saying, a little bit slower than the rest of us, but what he's emphasizing here is what a lot of us already believe. And again, it doesn't matter whether or not you're a celebrity or a pop culture icon or a regular everyday person. What he's trying to highlight here is that who you vote is a representation of what happens to you, especially on a local level. You know, we pay so much attention to the national election, and we got it right this time. We got it right this time. Can't wait for Joe Biden to just completely leave office. What do we have? 8 days as a recording of this video, 7 days or something like that. Can't wait for Joe Biden to leave office. I seen him talking crazy, trying to, take up for Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. But there's no excuse to not be prepared with how big of an economy California and Los Angeles area is. How large of a state and how much revenue is generated and all of the property.
Yeah, it's like the state with the highest GDP. All right, y'all, but I'm out. Come and rate, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about that. Thanks for hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we have differences of opinions and stuff like that. I welcome people to have differences of opinions. Sometimes we're not always going to believe the same things about politics and everything.